I'm coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Slicing, dicing, and raising a little feral child. We just got out of Ghost in the Shell. It's the new action movie starring Scarlett Johansson. It's the live-action adaptation of the anime movie Ghost in the Shell, about a cyborg who has to hunt down this cyber criminal, and in the process she learns a lot about her backstory and the possibly corrupt people that made her and for what reasons they made her, and she's trying to find out whether she's human or machine and where does that line lie and da 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 da. If Ex Machina was made by the people that did Morgan, that's what this feels like.
Oh, no.
This movie is shit.
I'm conflicted on this movie, because there's a lot of stuff that's really bad.
Well, if Ex Machina is really great, and if Morgan is really terrible, and you put those together, it meets somewhere in the meh area.
That's fair. There were some things I liked about this movie. There's things I didn't like about this movie. Things I liked in general, the visual design was really cool.
Yeah.
The visual effects look fantastic, and they did some great world building. I thought the musical score was really cool. I don't think there was enough action, but when the action was there, it was really well done, especially that opening action scene.
I'll give you that. The choreography and the cinematography in that opening action scene was good.
The opening action scene I thought was fantastic.
I think that might have been the best one in the movie.
Oh, definitely. Scarlett Johansson's really good.
I don't think so at all.
We disagree. We'll talk about it later. A major weakness for me was the dialogue. The dialogue is really just really bad at points.
This is cobbled from scripts from movies like 20 years ago. And yes, we know that Ghost in the Shell, the original, came out in '95 and influenced every science fiction movie after it. I'm just saying that this movie feels like it's ripped off dialogue from every action movie since the original came out.
I'll speak for both of us. Neither of us have seen the original.
No.
So I was just going in. I don't really know anything about the source material or anything. I don't watch anime because I'm American. Hey, Tristan, London is fallen.
He watches American Dad, so that's the extent of his cartoon consumption.
I watch BoJack Horseman. My uncle is from Korea, so when I was growing up, he would show me a lot of like Asian action movies, like a lot of the Jet Li movies, a lot of Donnie Yen movies, like you've ever seen Hero, or some of the old Jackie Chan movies. And this movie did, you know, in some ways sort of capture that feeling of sort of the way that the Asian filmmakers direct these sort of action sequences. Obviously, a lot of those are just borrowed in general, because Americans are always ripping off Asian filmmakers. I do feel like Rupert Sanders, the director, was trying to homage a little bit in that sense.
We are gonna pull out an epilepsy warning on this. There's a couple scenes where there's just flashing lights. I think there's a fight scene that kind of reminds me of Equilibrium, where
I've never seen it.
You need to see Equilibrium.
Christian
As
Bale,
far as the Ghost in the Shell and Matrix ripoffs go, yeah, Christian Bale, that movie's fun as shit. Spoiler alert, movie just came out. If you want to watch it first and then find out what we think about it in detail, cool. If you just want our final thoughts and scores out of 6 stars, scroll to the time code. Just letting you know we're getting into it right now. I don't know where you think Scarlett Johansson's good, because she's just doing the same shit she was doing in Lucy.
I never saw Lucy.
Okay, so is this shit new for you, seeing ScarJo being an AI?
Yeah. I've never seen another movie where Scarlett Johansson played a robot. I thought she was good. I think that she, you know, it reminded me, she wasn't as good, but she reminded me a little bit of Michael Fassbender in Prometheus. It was cool how, like, in the movie, the androids and humans were just sort of melded. Like, and so it really blurred the line. It's not like, oh, she's a robot, she can be a human. It's like, people are, you know, borrowing so much from machines. I thought she did a good job at playing that sort of curious, sort of introspective aspect of the character.
But every time before that, she's just talking like a robot. She should have gotten an Academy Award nomination for her.
That's true.
Where she was playing an artificial intelligence, and the point of that movie was to really blur the lines between humanity and machine, to make it almost indistinguishable. And the whole point of this movie is that eventually the robots are going to, the robot bodies that are going to hold our brains are going to be the next evolution of humanity. So shouldn't she feel more human than she actually is, and not talk in the stilted voice, barely moving her mouth? textbook robot AI strange intelligence 101, man.
I don't remember who the guy who plays her partner.
Bato?
Yeah.
That dude was actually really good.
I thought that dude was really good, and then there's this older Japanese dude who has a pretty awesome fight scene involving a car.
That is bullshit. I'm fucking sorry. That is fucking bullshit.
This is one of these movies where you have to be shot like 17 times to die. Because
they shot his car like 45 times.
Maybe it's because they have like so much like fucking robot shit or whatever, but it literally took him like so much to die.
Seriously, there's a part where the old Japanese guy gets like ganged up on by like 3 of these dudes, and they shoot fucking like Uzis through his car, and we're supposed to believe that his briefcase was A, wide enough, and B, strong enough to protect him from every single fucking bullet.
Did he have a briefcase gun like those dudes did at the beginning? Because the dudes at the beginning had those guns that turned into briefcase.
No, I think his briefcase
those were cool as shit.
That was cool. It was kind of like some Tony Stark shit. His briefcase was just a shield. But I'm looking at this like, they shot up his car so many times.
That made me laugh.
He needs to die. Like, he's dead. That was some Nick Fury shit.
Dude, he's like...
But at least Nick Fury had a better explanation as to how he survived that bullshit.
Yeah, well, whatever. I don't know.
What the fuck?
But I thought that dude was good. But what I was gonna say is the 2 performances I thought were just terrible. Where I thought Juliette Binoche was awful.
As Dr. Uled?
Her character did literally nothing but give expositional dialogue, and that pissed me the fuck off.
This is like watching Transcendence.
I was gonna say X-Men Apocalypse.
Ooh.
The other one that I thought was really bad was Michael Pitt, who plays the villain, Kuze.
Man, wait, Kuze? No, Kuze's the android. Are we talking about Cutter?
No, we're talking about Kuze.
Really?
I thought he was really boring and like... I just don't like Michael Pitt. I'm sorry.
I don't know who the fuck
he was on Boardwalk Empire. He just sucks.
He was alright.
See, because Cutter was at least like a fun, hammy villain.
No, he was not.
Okay.
He fucking wasn't.
When they shoot Kuze and then he's like, keep shooting, even though he's fucking dead. That's what I loved about this movie. It's like, you have to shoot them all 17 times or else they're not...
That was like 3 seconds of an hour and 40 movie where the main bad guy is just some corporate business asshole. He seems like the henchman to a bigger villain.
We talked to our friend at work who's saying that's pretty much how the original is, so...
That pisses me off, because I feel like the stakes are nothing, and if this was supposed to be a character story, I know exactly as much as I did when it started as to whether she's really human or what her purpose is. I don't give a fuck that she was a runaway that got brought into this corporation and murdered by Cutter to fucking be robot weapons. I don't give a fuck, because she doesn't look like she gives a fuck half the time. And when the movie lets her, when the movie gets quiet and when the movie gets ambient and visual, that's when it starts working. But then it starts going into these action tropes again.
My major problem with this movie, I don't think there was enough action. Or the action scenes were like weirdly placed.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I think they could have ended on a better set piece. Because the best fight scene in the movie is the opening scene.
This movie has the set piece from Iron Man 2.
Oh, can we talk about the dude who hangs himself?
What the fuck?
Funniest suicide since The Happening.
Kuze has this skill where he's connected to this network of human minds, and anyone who has been cybernetically enhanced, he can hack from afar. So in essence, this is a better game than Watch Dogs. He hacks into this dude. This dude goes and kills, what is it? He goes and kills some people, and he kidnaps Dr. Binoche. When he's being interrogated by the Major, she doesn't get information out of him until Kuze hacks him. And at the very end, to hide everything, the guy, I don't know how this worked, but he hung himself because there's a rope. How does this happen? His rope isn't even like around his neck or like hanging from the ceiling to a point where it's really uncomfortable. It's like under his shoulder, and so what he does is he jumps in the air, tucks his knees in, and just lets the weight of gravity hang him immediately? How the fuck does that even work?
I have no idea.
It's the stupidest fucking suicide I've ever seen.
I was worried going in that because there's like fans of the anime that are like,
Is that what they sound like?
I was worried that the source material was going to be like super dense, and then I was going to come in here and like, look, I'm a stupid, dumb American. Like, I don't know what's fucking happening. But like when I went into the movie, everything like made sense. It was pretty straightforward. I caught on to the movie's like language pretty fast. When they start like referencing certain terms at the beginning, and then throughout the movie, I'm like, okay, this is like making sense.
Well, it helps because you've seen pretty much every action movie that this is inspired.
That's also true. Do you want to talk about the whitewashing controversy?
You know what? The most interesting opinion I have from this movie is related to the whitewashing controversy. I think there's a way that you can look at this movie and say, no, this movie is actually anti-whitewashing. The corporate business guy is white.
Yeah.
What is one of the major symbols of this movie that represents like destruction and everything awful? It's the burning of a pagoda. So it's the burning of Japanese culture by white corporate interests. The face that they would use to represent the evolution, their evolution of humanity,
It's
would
true.
be a white face.
All the androids are white.
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson's mind is from a Japanese woman called Makoto.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the androids are white. So you could make an argument that this movie is railing against the destruction of traditional Japanese culture by Western-influenced industrialism.
Did you see that one video of like all those like Japanese people that were like fancy original? They're like, yeah, we're fine with it.
See, I want to believe that, but at the same time, I don't understand Japanese, so anybody could put whatever subtitles they wanted to.
It sucks, but like they have to sell a movie, and to sell a movie, you need a huge movie star in it, and there's not really like, an Asian American female that's gonna sell.
Except for the woman that plays Mako in Pacific Rim.
Okay.
Or you could argue the chick from the Great Wall if they actually give her. Yeah,
Jing Tian. She's like, I was
if
actually
they-
thinking about her in the movie, and like she would have been good as the major. She would have given a little bit more emotion to the role. Plus, I think she's like super hot. So like,
Hollywood is a terrible business of standards and focus groups, and this is just the latest example in that. But at least this movie can give me an interpretation where
yeah,
it does make sense. Just, it's all cause for debate. That's what dialogue is for, and
Yeah.
can we be open to different interpretations of
it was,
material?
that was an interesting interpretation.
You could also look at it as, they are whitewashing because the person who the company killed in order to make the major killed a Japanese woman. And it's really hard to look at this Japanese mom and accept it.
Yeah, and then she's.
I see where people are really offended by it, but I can see it in another way. So if you scroll to the time code, welcome back. We are talking about Ghost in the Shell, and right now we're going to give our final thoughts and scores out of 6 stars. So I'm going to start with you.
I thought this movie was okay. It's a pretty generic sort of action movie, but I thought visual effects were really well done. I thought Scarlett Johansson was really good. My major problem with the movie was the dialogue, which was really cringy and terrible at some points. I mean, some of the banter was okay. It was really visually compelling. The score was great. I think it's interesting. It's not the best movie ever made. I would have been interested to see an R-rated cut. I honestly feel like my enjoyment would have increased if it was, got a little bit more blood, get a little bit more of Scarlett Johansson's ass. It's a solid entertainment. It got me to not drink for 2 hours. I'm gonna go 3.5 out of 6.
God damn.
Good luck.
So is this an adult babysitter movie? It shuts you up, it stops you from drinking yourself to death. Yeah, it's passable.
When I give a negative review, it's something I do not like.
Well,
I
obviously.
don't dislike this movie. I think it's fine. I think it was entertaining. I don't regret going to see it. I thought it was, an entertaining 2 hours of the movie. It's not the most memorable thing ever made, but I'm giving it the bare minimum of it passes.
I was so bored. I was ready for it to be over. I was ready for it to do something new. And when this movie steps away from the action movie, when I say tropes, I usually just mean the dialogue. That the dialogue feels ripped from every sci-fi action movie I've ever seen. When this movie stops trying to be Christopher Nolan and talk about what the movie means, as opposed to just letting the movie play out and letting the characters be characters. When the movie stops doing that, it's pretty good. And the visual design, like I said, is fun. I don't think it's as breathtaking as everyone says.
I'm not saying it's breathtaking, but I thought it was cool. There's so many action movies that look exactly the same.
That's true.
It's just like airplanes and fucking cars and like Vin Diesel and Xander Cage and Collide. I thought that the vision of the future that they portrayed was pretty interesting.
The vision of the future, unfortunately, I have seen before, and really the differences I found were in some cinematography choices that I think were just taking the anime. Like whenever she rises out of the little pool that made her, and then all those like white pieces kind of like turn into, cool. I guess, giant wind vacuum of toilet paper. I don't know. But I think Scarlett Johansson's boring as hell in this, as she is whenever she tries most AI, when the character just doesn't have that much of a personality. And
Scarlett Johansson is a national treasure.
I'm not too mad by the whitewashing. I actually think an interpretation of this movie can make the whitewashing make sense. It can actually be part of the story they're trying to tell against whitewashing or against
corporate America.
Something like that. Man, it's a 2.5. I'm just...
Okay.
I don't give a fuck.
That's not that bad.
I simply couldn't give a fuck. And the few times I could give a fuck elevated it from me just saying I dislike it.
We have an HK consensus of 3 out of 6. So I give it slightly above average. You give it slightly below average. I don't think, you necessarily need to rush out and see this. If you're like a huge fan of the anime, I'm actually curious to hear what you thought. So like if you've seen the original anime, if you're a fan of that, let us know in the comments below, because I'm curious to see how it compares to the original. Because we've heard from some people who are huge fans of the original that really liked this, and some that didn't. So and if you like this video, please click the like button down below. Also make sure to subscribe to be the first to figure out when we've got all of our new content available. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I've got a blog, liammgahan.wordpress.com. I review every movie I see in theaters, including this one. Our friend Noah is the Cinema Geek on Instagram. He's posting his reviews there, so make sure to check those out.
And congratulations to Noah for getting over 300 followers on Instagram. You celebrated that, I think, recently. As far as the stuff coming out this week, I don't want to cut my wrist and watch The Boss Baby, so I'm not going to really watch anything next week. Not
Going
much
in style. The old movie of the year.
Maybe.
I'll go see that. Do you want to go see that?
I don't care.
I don't want to see it alone.
Okay. I've also got a couple of videos that I'm on the back burner for. You've probably noticed I've pummeled you all with so many uploads recently just because I was caught on a back catalog. So you might get reviews for Great Wall, Cure for Wellness, and A United Kingdom. Good night, take care, and we'll see you later.